the needle on the record.
Finds Barrett. Get a shot up. This is for the win. Oh, it's good! Off the window! Wins it for the Knicks!
All right, everyone. This is Tim with the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Knicks Sports Talk Entertainment. I've had time to digest. I've had time to calm down. I have time to take a look at exactly what the Knicks have been doing or what they plan on doing. The vision is clear. It's getting clearer by the moment. We all know we're going after a point guard in Dallas. We've all figured that out. But I think my problem is I've been a Knicks fan too long. I've been a Knicks fan since the early 80s. I've been a Knicks fan, I remember the likes of Rory Sparrow and Trent Tucker and Louis Orr and Ken the Animal Bannister. And I was there when King dropped the 50. I've seen a lot with this franchise over the years. You lived through that wonderful summer with the Knicks and the Rangers. And ever since then, it just seems like the Knicks always find a way to screw it up. There's been multitudes of occasions recently where the Knicks had a plethora of cap space and have swung and a miss. Everyone thinks about the decision in Miami with LeBron James, which ended us up with Mari Stoudemire, which then turned out to be at the time was a good signing because of the fact that he was on pace for an MVP season until we broke the bank and we went and acquired Carmelo Anthony. Now, anyone that thinks that, and I liked Carmelo as a Knick, I still do, but Carmelo forced that trade to New York that summer because the CBA was changing the next year and he would have been a free agent, but he would not have been able to receive the same amount of money next year that he would have if he got traded that year, which is why he forced the Knicks' hand. And then we've had other times where we swung at other players with a plethora of cap space and still missed. So I think there's an anticipation with Knicks fans right now that are looking at this situation and saying we have basically turned over everything to Jalen Brunson. That we are going to make, that we are doing this and we're doing this to make that push. And I understand that, and I get that. And if you take a look at what the Knicks gave up and what the Knicks got and what the Knicks did they improve the team yesterday? No, they didn't improve the team because we don't know what that cap space is gonna turn into. So we basically traded the 11th pick, which we took the kid from France, which I'm very glad we didn't have him because all NBA reports saying he's not ready. He barely played well overseas. So he's not ready. They say defensively he's not ready. He can't create his own shots. He's very timid. He's 19 years old. He's got to grow into his frame, even though he's got a 7-foot wingspan. What we did do is we did accumulate that pick into 3 conditional first rounders from the Thunder. Now I was laughing because I was looking at what you got to take a look at what those conditional picks are, because I think it's funny because they're also protected. They get Washington's pick, which is a top 14 protected. They get a Denver's pick, which is a top 14 protected. And they get Detroit's pick, which is a top 18 protected. And these picks are all in future years. So what the Knicks are looking to do right now is they're not looking to pick any players with these picks. They're not looking at that scenario. What they're looking at these picks to use them as trade value. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But it's just very interesting how this went wrong. Then they went on and acquired the 13 pick. And again, we just took from Houston in exchange for several future picks, which was a 2023 first rounder belonging to the Nuggets and 4 future second round picks. And then we sent him the Pistons, of course, along with Kemba Walker to free up $9 million in cap space, which we did also in that situation was, I think it's interesting that immediately the Pistons are in negotiations to buy out Kemba's contract. So maybe the Knicks can re-sign him. As part of that deal with the Pistons, the Knicks received the Bucks first round pick in 2025, and it's top 4, which is a top 4 protected. So overall, which I find interesting, the Knicks now have 11 first round picks and 11 second round picks in the next 7 years. We did a video the other day that broke down all the draft picks the Knicks have accumulated over this period of time. So what the Knicks are trying to do, what is Leon trying to do? It's very simple. He's looking to take these picks, package them up with contracts that he is trying to get out of, such as Nerlens Noel, such as Evan. And I've said, and like I said this before, and I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I said this Evan contract was going to be the Allen Houston anchor contract. Allen Houston got paid from the Knicks after that big playoff series. And not that he was a bad Knick, and I like Allen Houston, but he was never the player who we thought he would elevate this team to. So they're going to try to dump this capital, and they're going to try to pick up cap space by using these first round picks as incentives to other teams to help take some of these bad contracts. So they can then in turn go out into the free agent market and do what they do. And hopefully it's not do what they do, because they've swung and missed big time over the last bunch of years. So you figure you're going to get rid of Burks. You figure you're going to get rid of Noel. You know you're trying to get rid of Evan. And you already dumped Kembe. And I love it because we signed these guys 11 months ago. Well, we re-signed 2 of them. And then we signed Evan and Walker. So the Knicks are taking another shot. They're taking another chance. They're trying to see what they can do. And you know what? I love it because you just keep thinking about the ghosts of Knicks past. You keep thinking about Frank Ntilikina 5 spots ahead of Donovan Mitchell. You think about the fact about how they watched Curry go 1 pick before them in 2009 and 90. You know, they took Gallinari, in which Derrick Rose, Westbrook, and Love went in the top 5. And so, we figured, we'll take Gallinari. And Gallinari has been a good pro ever since he got shipped over to Denver. And he's now, I think he's with the Clippers now. He's been a good pro. He's not a bad pro. I just love the fact that there's just so many. I think the biggest problem is, like I said, my video yesterday was more of a reactionary video, because now I see I knew what they were trying to do. But the amount of assets they have acquired is mind-boggling, especially over the next 11 years. And I think that's wonderful. But I worry about going after a 25-year-old player who's coming off of what they refer to as a career campaign at 16 points a game, 4.8 assists, and 3.9 rebounds in 31 minutes. And you also have to think of the fact that if you look at his 4-year career average, he's only averaging like 11 points and 3.5 assists. He is a guy that is a low turnover facilitator. He is a guy that he can play defense. He hit 68% of his shots going towards the rim. He's 50% from mid-range. He's 37% from three-point land and 84% from the foul line. He had the big playoff game. He stepped it up in the playoffs, and he's just averaging 22, 5, and 4. Is he a superstar in the making? Is he a Jason Kidd in his prime coming this way? No. I don't see it. I just don't see it. And I worry about the fact that, like I said, Cuban's already basically come out and said that they are willing, or he is willing to go over the luxury cap, the luxury tax, to sign Brunson. And then you have to figure, how is this going to affect Quickly? Quickly, to me, is always a shooting guard. I know a lot of people want to put him in that point guard mold. He had moments and flashes at the point guard position, but to me, he's always a shooting guard. That I think that's what his skills facilitate. But how good is a core of Barrett, Brunson, and Randall? How good will that really be? You got Randall coming off a down year. You got RJ coming up. And I've said this before. I love RJ as a player. I do. But do I think RJ is a superstar? No, I think he is an all-star. But I don't think he's a superstar yet. And the jury is still out on Brunson. So, because you're going to be taking that money. And how many times have teams taken the money and dumped it on a guy who had a great playoff series and turned out to be nothing? And turned out to be the player that the rest of the league thought they were. So you have to be concerned about that as a Knicks organization. But like I said, if you were telling me right now, They traded the pick away so they could take that first round cap hold off. They got rid of the $9 million for Walker. You're good. You still got to keep Obi Toppin and Quickly, which I think to me is a win, is a check mark in that win column there. You came up with a large amount of draft capital over the next 11 years that you can use to push out these contracts. it's just how much trust do you have in Rose? How much trust do we have in Leon Rose? Because of the fact that he signed these guys 11 months ago. And now we're trying to move on from the guys that this was his team that he was putting together. I'm interested to see. I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. I'm interested in seeing how the Knicks move forward. And I'm interested in seeing exactly what they do if they're able to move these contracts. Because honestly, if we don't move these contracts, we're not going to even be in a position to take a look at Brunson. There's more work that needs to be done. There's more work. But like I said, I like the fact that we kept some of the core together. I would have been happier if we moved on from Randall, but that's all right. If we would have found something for Randall. But you know what? We're building from within. We are, in regards to people like R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, and quickly. Hopefully we can find a way to bring back Mitchie the Kid. And we just have to kind of wait and see how they're playing this out. Because like I said, it was more of a reactionary yesterday. You knew what they were trying to do. You have to be worried about what they can do. And I worry about the Kyrie Irving. I worry about the Kyrie Irving factor. As well as Kyrie plays, he is a knucklehead. He has proven to be a knucklehead, and I don't need it. We don't need another knucklehead on this team, and that's something we need to look at in the long run. But you know what? Let's just kind of wait and see what happens. Let's just give peace a chance. Let's give Leon a chance. And again, this is Tim of the Online Big Blue. We'll bring you the best in New York Knicks sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe. If you're ringing that bell, that'd be awesome.